Sam, over to you.
Right, Johannes, good to see you as always. If we start with fitness again, have you got any good news for us?
What could be good news? Good news could be that Nacho is back. He's been with us in the whole week in training, so he's back and we'll play tomorrow. Do we have anyone else back? I don't think so. Kenny's still out. Infection we have to treat, so he's on some medication, and we see if we can settle it down, and hopefully it'll be better in 5 days' time. That's the plan, and then let's see, potentially ready for Blackburn next week.
Do you have a sort of a timeline on Emi Marcondes?
He also had an injection. I think it was last Friday. I think there's a chance he could be involved in the game against Blackburn as well. But it depends a little bit on next week and how much he can train, how much he can be with the group again. So we have to wait and see.
Having Nacho back, how big is that?
It's important for us. It's really, really good. I think the 3 midfielders we play with in Hull, they did a great job, but they also had to go through some of them 90 minutes, which was a tough one. So it's good to have more midfielders available, and we can rotate a little bit, and we can bring fresh legs on later on in the game. So in many ways, really, really good.
Yeah, in terms of some of the other injuries that you've got, I know Gabe and Seif would have had that last injection.
Yeah.
Has that had the desired effect, or not?
We have to wait and see, because now it was the last. So now we have to build him up again. It will take a couple of weeks, and then after a couple of weeks, he will start to be integrated with just very light with the team, doing some passing stuff and stuff like that. Hopefully there's no pain when he starts to do that, and then we can start thinking about when he's back.
Yeah, in terms of Amanka Forson and Liam Gibbs.
Yeah, Liam Gibbs is probably a little bit the same like with Gabe. So I think realistically on the backside of the next international break, so that's middle of March, end of March, we can start to integrate him, and then of course we have to build him up fitness wise, so he's also ready for game time. So there's still some way to go with him. Forson is getting better, and I think realistically we start to bring him into the team training in next week as well. So some good news on him.
Do you think it would take a little while for Forson to sort of get back up to match speed?
Yeah. It's always more tricky when you've been out for a while. I think if we're talking about 1 week, maximum 2 weeks, it's easier, because then you're still in the rhythm for most of them. But when we talk more than 2 weeks, then for some it takes a little bit longer just to get back and find that flow again. Unfortunately, we've also seen with Mate Jurasek that he'll be out for us this weekend, because he struggled a little bit in the game against Hull, and probably with the intensity it was not what he's used to. So he'll be out for this weekend, but hopefully ready again next week.
So is that a specific injury with Jurasek?
Yeah, it is, because when we scanned him, we could see that it was a little bit in his thigh. So we have to be careful about that. Is when I spoke to the physio, something that will settle within a couple of days. So, but it would be too big a risk to involve him in the game on Saturday or tomorrow. So we can see it takes proper building to be ready to compete in the championship.
Yeah, is that quite disappointing, because it felt like he'd made quite a fast start in his first game?
Yeah. But again, it tells us, like with many of the players that we have signed this season, young ones coming from not always playing just every weekend, that we have to build them, and especially for this league we have to build them properly, because otherwise we end up in too many of the situations we've been in so far this season. So we have to be careful and realistic and make sure we do the right things.
Any other fitness issues in the team?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah, obviously no Callum Doyle because of suspension. I think it will be the first time this season that you haven't had him. I think he started at every championship game. So given how important he is for what you're trying to do you have to adapt things a little bit?
Yeah, we try not to adapt too much, also because I think Jose is ready and have shown that he's ready. There's just been a competition where we have decided to go with Callum for many games, because he's been better and better for us throughout this season. So that's just a competition matter, but I think Jose is ready, and he will step in and take that position tomorrow.
Is there maybe more onus on Jose to maybe show that ball progressing side of his game, given you won't have Callum?
Yeah, he needs to do it, but again, it's just dependent how good we are in finding the right positions and take the right positions tomorrow. If we are good enough, as we, especially in second half against Hull, where then we find the rhythm, with him. But we're not that dependent on only him. It's also the other players in those areas of the pitch. So of course, everyone on the team needs to be comfortable and calm on the ball. That's something they have to be able to on this team and the way that we play football. But he have shown that many times.
Yeah, and without reading too much about your team selection, I reckon there's probably a good chance that Shane Duffy might be in that starting 11. So is it good to have that consistency in there when you've got somebody like Callum dropping out of it as well?
I think it's a good call. It was a good guess that Shane will be in. We try, and it's not much, even though we would like to, that we have been able to play with the same starting 11 for 2 or 3 games in a row this season, because I think that's a part of building that consistency that we talk about week in, week out here. But unfortunately, it has not been an option for us. But I think Shane is important for us in many ways. It's not only the defensive stuff in open plays, also all the set piece situations where he plays a big role for us. So there's many things. His communication and just his personality is important for us. And of course, it's not new players, because Jose has played a lot for us, but just when new players, and it's more like a guy like Lucian or Kellen Fisher, when they step into the team, there's someone they can trust.
Have you been surprised at all by how good Shane has been for you this season? Because when you came in, probably people would have looked at the profile and said it's a little bit different to what you're trying to do.
Yeah, but most of it is actually down to him. Him and I had a talk in pre-season. I think it was in Austria, where he was, up until that, he's been a little bit in and out of the team in pre-season. I think he was a little bit unclear before the season started where he actually was, and I said to him, I actually don't know. We have to wait and see. We have to see last pre-season games and also the first couple of games in season where you are. But he's been very eager to learn and to adapt and try to take on the new things that we do here, and that's probably one of the reasons why he's been playing so much for us. And then of course on the other side, all the stuff that he gives us, all the his defensive stuff, especially on set pieces, where he's been vital for us this season. So there's many good things, but it probably come down to him and his just eager to learn and going into this with open eyes and an open mindset.
Yeah, I suppose the number of games he's played shows how much you appreciate a bit of experience in that core of the team as well. Yeah,
we need that. Like I said many times, we need it in goal. We needed a couple of the positions in the back line. We need it on midfield, and we need it up front. I think it's very, very important for the team that we have those players who are used to playing in the Championship, probably also even higher level than that, and can do it consistently week in, week out. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you about Jacob Wright. Obviously, a few weeks in the building now. What have you made of his start to life at Norwich?
Quite impressed, I would say, because it was a difficult one, the first one for him, home against Preston, and probably also the first time in his career and his life that he tried to play against a team like Preston, where so physical and so man-to-man, and we asked him just to step in and do what he can do for us. That was not easy, but I think probably a difficult game for him, that one. And then the whole game last week, where I think probably not his best start to the game, but he developed in that game, which I think is really, really positive and something you can see with good players, that they learn from their actions in the game and can actually do better in the same game. They don't have to go back and evaluate and be ready for the next one, but they can learn in the game. I was impressed with that, because he was an important player for us in the whole game. We could keep the flow on the ball, and we could keep high technical level inside the middle of the pitch, and we can control the game from those positions. So I think really, after a probably also difficult start for him, I think he definitely got better and better and better.
Yeah, I think in that game he played sort of slightly further forward in that 2 rather than at the base of the midfield. Is that where you see him going forward, or was that almost a sort of introduction to ease him into that deeper role? Yeah,
he will be a deep lying midfielder for us. Whether he's central or a little bit to one of the sides, it depends on also the other players who's available for us. But that's his position. He's a passing player, so I don't think we can expect too many runs in behind or too many dribbles or situations like that. He's a passing player, so he needs to be involved early in the game for us. He needs to be involved in our build-up game, because that's where he's best. And then he's also good at progressing the game and then find those passes in between the lines. And then when he's done that, then it's up to the others.
Yeah, and in terms of that midfield, I wanted to sort of ask you about the connection with the front three. I know obviously Mate isn't going to be available this weekend, but with him and Borja, you have two wingers who probably are a little bit more attacking. They're not really number 10 types, and then in the midfield, you especially in the last few weeks, haven't really had that more creative type. So how do you connect the midfield with the front three when those are the types of players that you have? Yeah,
there's many ways to do it. I think what we did in Hull was that we had the three midfielders and the two wingers very close connected to each other, which you could also see with the goal we scored, where there's many rotations in the team, and they connect well, and they do a lot of short passes to open up the space where Kellen can deliver his cross. So that's one way. And then what we did in that game was to then attack even more with the fullbacks. We've had the fullbacks inverted sometimes this season, but against Hull we decided to attack a little bit more with the fullbacks being wide and in high positions, and to deliver more crosses. Because I think based on the previous 2-3 games, we could see that we lacked probably some situations in and around the box where we know that many things can happen. So that was one of the reasons. So we can do many things, and we try to look at the player and who's available for us. If it's a certain type of player, we try to make a position and some positions around him that will suit him, instead of just saying, okay, you have to be able to do this. If it's not where he's good, then I don't think we will benefit from that.
Do you think you've missed a sort of number 10 type, I suppose, with Emmy out as well? You don't really have that sort of player.
Ennis can do it, but of course in his way there's a little bit more physical than Emmy's. I think when Emmy's in the team, we have that number 10 role. We have that number 10 player. I think Oscar Svartau needs to develop into being that role in the future. I think that would be the best role for him, actually, where he can enter the box a little bit late, but also take a lot of runs in behind and create space for others. So I think we have them, but I think the most obvious number 10 we have in the team is Emmy, and when he's out, we have to shape the team probably in a little bit different way, or use some other players.
Yeah, and looking at this weekend, obviously it's Stoke. What have you made of that?
What have we made of them? That they are in a position in the league where they have to fight for every point that they can get, and I think that will be the game plan for them tomorrow as well. Then they can still do some good stuff on the ball, and I watched the Hull game they played recently, where they do some good stuff playing out from the back, and they can do that. So if we're not good enough in our high pressing, they have the qualities to build up from the back. And then of course it's a hard-working team when they are out of possession, and they can step up and put us under pressure in the early phases. But they can also, when they defend low, they are compact, and they can be quite difficult to break down. So we need to be fluent. We need to have a good rotations and technical high quality.
I think Mark Robins, their manager, is somebody who's known for sort of adapting the system a little bit and maybe changing the team depending on what the opposition does. So does that make it harder for you to sort of predict what they're going to try and do?
You never know, because there was always, from game to game, there will always be decisions that you take, whether that's a player you choose for that specific game, or it's a position you change a little bit, and we do the same. And I think every coach will do the same to see where they can be most effective. So I think he will do that. But when we're looking at the games, we can also see there's some positions and decisions that go through all of their games. Their high pressing phase on goal kicks for the opposition look the same. And when they defend deeper or a little bit lower, it's in a compact 4-4-2 shape, which also seems like it's what they want to stick to. So they have some clear principles. Also their formation and positions when they build up from the back. That I don't think will change, but the team selection can change when you look at a special kind of winger. Okay, what is the best fullback we have to cover that, and we do the same. And I think every team will do the same.
Like you said, they're sort of fighting for their lives towards the bottom of the division as well, and you've probably seen in the last few games the impact that can have, even when Norwich go in as favourites. Yeah, that's the part of this league, a big part of this league, that there's no easy games. Whether you are home or away, there's no easy games, and there's always a different narrative for every team, whether they are fighting for promotion or playoffs or avoiding relegation or whatever. There's always
something that will trigger a good performance or will trigger a hard fight. So we know that, and we know, again, like all the other games, we have to be as close to our maximum in everything we do to get a good result.
Yeah, and I know you're still aiming for the playoffs in the short term. Is it the stage of the season where you're sort of looking at the table and other teams' results, or are you just laser focused on what your team do?
I honestly don't think we can look at all other teams' results, because I think we have seen many teams being up and around and close to, and then they drop a little, then some will take over from that. So I don't really spend too much time on results. I only look at the games because we have to prepare, of course. I think we just have to focus on ourselves and our own performances. You cannot really. It doesn't matter all the other results if we don't pick up the points. So I think that's the most important thing. Performance needs to be good. Then we know that results will come. It will be tight, and it will be hard, and it will be tough to the end. But we give it a shot. And like I said many times, I believe in this group of players, because I think they have shown, and also think they showed that in Hull last Saturday, that we are a good team. But we also know that sometimes it doesn't take too much for us to drop a little bit in performance level, and that's probably realistic when you look at the age profile of the group. But we have to see if we can build that consistency.
Indeed. Just finally, I wanted to ask you about contracts, because you've still got a few, obviously, who are out in the summer as it stands. Now that the transfer window's closed, is that something that you and Ben have been able to focus on?
Yeah, no, not recently. I know it's an ongoing process for Ben and agents and players and stuff like that, and he will probably take care of that. We have not had a meeting about it within the last month or so, but I think it's realistic that we will pick up on that probably within a couple of weeks again and see what we can do. But it's a fine balance. It's also not to interfere too much with players and performance and stuff like that, where you have to find the right timing to start discussing situations like that, but of course also be very clear on your own decisions. Yeah,
one of them I wanted to ask you specifically about is Jakob Sorensen, who I think is quite an interesting situation, because obviously he's struggled with the injuries a lot, but when he's been available, he's played a lot for you. So is that a situation where it might actually almost go down to the wire with that decision on him? Yeah, I think that will probably be a later call for us and for him and for everyone, because one thing is his injury history, which is not ideal for us, and we've been struggling, and he's been struggling with that for a while. I trust him as a player, because I think he holds the position that we ask him to hold very, very good, and he can deliver passes with quite good quality, consistent good quality. So he's definitely useful for us, but probably a decision that is for later in this season. Is he the sort of person who will think about that a lot, or does he just sort of... I think to be honest, every player does, because it's a football players, it's a strange life once in a while, where probably for 5 to 10 players in the changing room right now, they don't know what will be their destination after summer. Will they stay here? Will they leave? Where will they go? There can be offers from other clubs. You don't know. You probably live in your suitcase for 50% of your football life, which is a little bit strange. So I think players are thinking about it, and I think they should do. But I also think that they should learn how to not let it affect their performance, because it's again something you probably cannot control in the middle of the season. You just have to focus on the stuff you can control. Good stuff. Thanks, Johannes.
Hi Johannes, nice to see you. Obviously Eurosec being out is a blow, isn't it? But it creates an opportunity for someone else. Is the squirrel in your thoughts again this weekend? Did a good job last weekend on the right. I'm
too afraid that the ref he will stop the game if we do that move again. So no, unfortunately not.
I get serious now. Jose Cordova played a lot for you before Christmas, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's had a spell out of the team. Is he seeing this as a big opportunity to kind of cement his place for the rest of the season? Because obviously, if he plays well, it'll be his shirt to lose, won't it?
Yeah, it is. I think first of all, to start with him, he started well for us this season. I think when he was fit and he was back in the team, then he struggled throughout, probably from November to probably where we are now, with some small injuries, not anything too severe, but just he picked up some knocks in games and was out for a game and then back again and out again and back again. And then we got him an alarm clock for the morning as well, so he can make sure he attends the meetings that he's supposed to attend. So that's also a way to drop out of the squad if you lose out on a meeting. So I think there's been many things where, going back to the things we can control, there's probably only one of the situations he could control. Otherwise, it is small injuries and not really being 100% fit. And then, of course, when you have then 2 other centre backs where you can see they're fit every week, then it takes a lot to change that. So now it's a good opportunity. I will also say, and I'll let him know earlier today, that it's a good opportunity, but also just take it as a game. Don't play it as an opportunity. Play it as another game. You just have to deliver a good performance and deliver the game plan and do your stuff, and don't think too much about what you have to do here to make sure you can play the next one and the next one and the next one. Just do your stuff, and we trust him 100% because he's a good player, and I'm 100% sure he will deliver well.
It's also an opportunity for Rory McConville potentially, isn't it? Because it pushes him up the pecking order. Can he play on the left, or is he just solely on the right?
I think he can. I think every player needs to be able to play on the so-called wrong side as a central defender. I think also a left-footed can play as a right-sided defender, which we did against Brighton in the FA Cup, where Callum Doyle and Jose Cordoba started first half for us. So they should also be able to do that. It gives some different passing angles in the game, and probably also some defensive stuff, which is a little bit different compared to the other side. But 80 or 90% of it is the same. So definitely Rory can play on the left side as well. And it's also a matter of finding the right timing for us to integrate him to the squad, where I think the plan is for us and for him to be 100% ready when we start pre-season to compete for a position in the team. That's the plan with him, but we need to give him some minutes before that. So a great opportunity also for him, because he will be, of course, the first one to be ready to step in if there's something going on with the others.
I was going to say, do you feel he is ready now?
Yeah, I think
if the worst came to the worst.
I think he is, and I think if he gets some minutes tomorrow, it will be more than deserved, because which surprised me a little bit when we had the meeting with him, when we recruited him, that he's a fantastic person, and he's so eager to learn, and he gives so much to the dressing room, even though he's young. So I would really like him to get out there and show what he can do, and also for all the fans to see him. That would be more than well deserved.
I mean, you talked about his personality there. Obviously it's early days, but do you see him as captain material in the future, leadership qualities?
I think definitely he should, with the way he is as a person, he should strive to be a future captain. Whether it's going to be here or another place, you never know, but that should definitely be in his ambition, because he's a type of person where he has the energy to just go around to some of the other guys and communicate and talk to them, and he's a clear voice and a strong voice when we're out there training, where no one is in doubt that he's on the training pitch. So in many ways, definitely a player who should strive to be a captain in the future.
And finally, you mentioned training. Has it helped having a full clear week, no midweek games this week?
It's always good. I like them. I like those weeks. I like when we can get into detail and we can have a good flow in many things, and we can also get out there with a little bit more intensity in the stuff that we do. So it's a little bit more game realistic or game-like, the things that we do. And I think we have seen every time we have a full week, we have some quality sessions out there, and we had, even though it was a little bit lighter in terms of the intensity today, a top quality session out there with so much good stuff going on. So I just cross my fingers for we can take that and bring it into the game tomorrow.
So brilliant. Thanks, Johannes.
Thank you.